This is the way of Quran. If you do this, at least in that way you will be followed Quran, because Quran says follow what convinces you, what you have ilm, certain knowledge about it. If you do not convinced, if you do not have certain knowledge about anything, do not follow it. وَلَا تَقْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ. We are, as believers, we are sure that if the people follow this way, they will follow Quran, and they will acknowledge that it is the truth, like we did. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala controls our innermost thoughts. Like He knows us, like He knows where we are, like He created us, He knows whether we're convinced or not. But do not allege that you didn't convince if you convinced. Do not imagine different than what in yourself. This is the way of the deniers, covering up the truth. This is the way of the wrongdoers. And these kind of people, although they understood the truth, like Fir'aun and his people, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about them, وَجَحَدُوا بِهَا وَاسْتَيْقَنَتْهَا أَنفُسُهُم. They understood it certainly. Absolutely they aware about the truth, but they denied it because they didn't want to lose their lovely life, living without any limit and denying the Almighty God, committing fornication, drinking every kind of alcohol, and doing any kind of wrong in this life. In that sake, for that sake, they denied the truth. Do not be one of them, but follow the truth. So we should be aware about ourselves, and at the first hand, we should abstain the dhulm. When you acknowledge something, when you realize something and do not acknowledge it, this is the dhulm. وَضْعُ الشَّيْء غَيْرَ مَحَلِّهِ. If you realize, if you notice that your friend has an ability, for example, in anything, but you do not want to acknowledge his ability. You say, no, it's not, I can do the same, it's a simple thing. You do not want to acknowledge his value in that ability. This is dhulm. You are committing dhulm against him. The same thing happened in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the only one God. When you realize that there is only one God who created everything, and no one deserves to be worshipped other than Him, which is the pure monotheistic belief of Islam. After realizing this truth, if you deny Islam and deny the message of Islam and go and believe in the sun or in the other deities, this is a biggest dhulm which you crimed against your Creator. Because your Creator is one, you cannot put the second along with Him. This is very big humiliation for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He do not accept this humiliation because He is the one who created everything. You cannot claim any deity along with Him. If you used your abilities, your faculties, your ears, and every faculty that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to you, granted to you, and reached to some conclusion, a certain conclusion, follow it. And do not manipulate it, do not deny it. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask you, why didn't you acknowledge the truth which you realized it by the abilities which are given to you? Why did you deny them? And some people do not use their perception, do not use their reasoning. They are crime people like the others. They do not want to confront with the truth. They do not want to think about this life and the meaning of this life. They are like the others, Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring the truth to their side, clear, plain truth, and will make it absolutely clear in their sight, in order to not remain for them any excuse. So when we read the same meaning in every ayah in Quran, if you ask me why I repeat the same message in every lesson, in every episode, because Quran repeats the same lesson. Here he says, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا مُوسَى الْهُدَى. It means we have given the guidance for Moses too, for the people of Moses too. We did not neglect them. No people Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala neglect them in this world. He says there's many messengers, minhum man qasasna alayk, some we narrated about them to you, mentioned about them in Quran, wa minhum man lam naqsus alayk, and there is many we did not mention about them in Quran. So in this world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down many apostles, many messengers from the people, and has given them the book, shown them the truth. So we are talking about the meaning of the truth and why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down the truth, the revelation, or the messengers, and by any means to the people. The lesson is clear in order to show them the truth and not remain any kind of excuse for them, because He will take them back and ask to them, didn't I make clear the truth for you? If he say no, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring his life in that day and will show him, look at this moment, you're convinced about the truth, and he will make disclose his intentions, his innermost thoughts at that day. He will show them to him, and after that moment he will say, why didn't you acknowledge the truth? He will acknowledge, he will say that because of that reason, because of my lovely friend, my lovely society, and because I was living with them, I couldn't dare to acknowledge the truth, and many kind of excuses. But these excuses meaning nothing, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants every single man in this life to be ready to sacrifice with everything, whatever we have in this life, in order to acknowledge the truth. This is the way of this life, and this is the examine of this life. وَأَوْرَثْنَا بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ الْكِتَابِ. And we caused the children of Israel to inherit the book. Why? Why the book? The book as a guidance. So if you claim that you are a Muslim, but you didn't convince yourself about Quran, you didn't read it in that way, looking for a mistake in it, you should do that until the moment that you will feel weak before Quran, that you will not be able to find any mistake in it. At that moment you will submit Quran. This is the submission of Islam. You will say, no way, I cannot claim that Quran can be done or can be wrought by a human being. I cannot show any mistake in Quran. Now I am feeble before Quran. I tried everything, but I couldn't find a way in order to show any contradiction in Quran. Now I submit to the one who sent Quran, and I start to worship him as he taught me in Quran, and fasting and others good deeds according to Quran. This is the way of Islam. But if you didn't convince, just followed it because of that person, just followed it because of your father, because of your mother, you will not be able to achieve anything, because this is not yours. You are just imitating the others. You should learn first and you should own it by yourself, and you should, at that moment, you should be ready to sacrifice with your life, with your wealth for it, because you are certain and absolute about its truth. This is the way of the believers, like Mus'ab bin Umair, like the companions of the Prophet radiyallahu anhum ajma'in. So Quran as a huda, as a guidance for everyone, not for the scholars only. Some people claim that the scholars will read Quran and we will follow the scholars. No. This may happen in false religions. The people in false religions, they are not responsible to realize their religion, to understand its truth. They just follow the scholars. And they do not reason, they do not use their perception, their faculties of perception and reasoning towards their religion. In any religion other than Islam, this can happen, this may be valid for them. But in Islam, it's not valid. Every single man should believe by in himself, should testify by himself, should say, Ashhadu, I bear witness, Ashhadu, I'm observing right now that there cannot be a God other than the only one God. He should observe, he should testify by himself. And then he should testify by the same way that the Prophet ﷺ is his messenger. How can you testify? How can you observe that Muhammad is the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? You didn't live at that time. You learned with him when he was receiving revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How can you be certain and say Ashhadu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah? There is only one way, and it is the revelation which he brought it to you. You will read it, and then you will reach that conclusion that Muhammad or any human being cannot rewrite Quran. It's impossible. You should reach that certainty that this is the word of the only one God, your creator. At that moment you can say wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, because the same question asked by the people of Salih. The chiefs, the rulers asked the believers, أَتَعْلَمُونَ أَنَّ صَالِحًا مُرْسَلٌ مِّن رَبِّي. How do you know that Salih has sent as a messenger by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Were you with him while the angels came to him? They said, إِنَّا بِمَا أُرْسِلَ بِهِ مُؤْمِنُونَ. We believed in what he came us with. He came to us with the truth, with the revelation. We believed in that revelation. We analyzed it, we read it, and we understood that this is the word of God. Salih cannot, or any human being cannot say such words. And we acknowledge the truth. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم ولسائر المؤمنين. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا. ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا. ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.